Whoops, sorry for the nudge there. Hi, this is Lymphoma blog number 3 of 2020. So I said yesterday that I would talk a little about how it's been for me in the current climate. And if we go all the way back to the beginning, say March, it was an interesting time actually, because obviously things were already marching on a pace in other countries. And I am someone who listens to the news, watches the news, all that sort of thing. So I wasn't unaware of that. But I was in full flow musically, in terms of I was running my composite project, and I was doing, we were building up to a small northern tour. We and Blozabella had been to Holland in February. That was the first time I was kind of more conscious of the illness spreading in Europe and obviously beyond China. So, how did it affect me? Well, I automatically noticed, well, actually, when we were in Holland, I did feel quite ill, in the sense of feeling what I describe as viral, which is something I've mentioned in previous blogs. It's like a malaise, or a sort of I don't feel 100%, that I often put down to my compromised immune system. And the word compromised immune system is something that will crop up a lot in terms of blood cancers and the current climate, and how that impacts on me. But on a general day-to-day basis, I can have days, probably a bit like someone with ME, when you're fine, and then days when you feel knocked sideways. Mostly for me, I'm never completely knocked sideways, but it's more that feeling of, oh dear, it's just a bit of a struggle to get anything done and to feel motivated and to mostly have energy and feel just a bit achy and not 100%. So when we're in Holland, I felt a bit kind of coldy flu, a bit achy, a bit skin a little bit sore, but nothing that you could have categorically said what it was. And we did the lovely routes Zandam, and not long after that, Kuhn, who was one of the organisers, in fact, was hospitalised with coronavirus. And you only think about those kind of things in hindsight. I mean, I doubt very much that what I was experiencing had anything to do with him, or vice versa, but you never know in these circumstances. And I've always maintained that, I don't know if I'm a carrier even, or whether I've had it. I would doubt it very much. Knowing people who have, I think I would have noticed it a lot more than the things I've experienced. So post that and into the northern period, was the first time when I was asked if I wanted to go ahead with the concert, principally because two lovely people who were hosting this in their homes had just come back from Tenerife, I think it was. Anyway, it was one of the islands where 10 miles up the road there had been an outbreak in a hotel. And I was listening constantly at that time to government advice, which may or may not be a sensible thing, but has to change on a daily basis and has to change in accordance with the information you have. And there was nothing in that sense where anybody was saying we should not at that time be gathering. We were, I think, consciously careful, but not stopping. And if you bear in mind that house concerts are inevitably pretty much playing on top of people, as in almost sitting in their laps, it was potentially difficult. The audience were also offered the opportunity of not coming, and I think they all, bar one person or a couple of people who had colds, which was really nice of them, who decided not to come. And we went ahead. And then very, very shortly after that, we went into a lockdown period. And I'd gone up to Glasgow at the time, and then came back very quickly to Nottinghamshire, where I have outside space. In fact, came back the day of lockdown, so that I was home before the formal announcement was made. And I have to say, it felt very stressful then, because of all the conversation around vulnerable people. I hadn't received any communication from the government at that point, and yet I had to assume, as someone who is technically living with cancer, because as I said in previous blogs, this lymphoma doesn't go away, it's just ticking along in the background, that I was vulnerable. I had to assume that. So I came home and from that point became extra cautious. Tomorrow I'll tell you how things changed slightly further down the road to do with that as well. But yes, so it's an interesting time when you have this type of disorder and when you're someone who predominantly looks and feels well, like I do. So more tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Bye.